This is Lacy Robertson, the hardest working woman in mortgage and real estate nationwide. And I want to go over 10 signs that you may be looking at foreclosure. 10 signs that if you're experiencing this, you're going to want to pick up the phone and dial 714-914-7254 so you can avoid foreclosure because there are many options available. Number one, when you start to miss payments, right? When you start to miss payments, what does that mean? You are falling behind for whatever reason, whether you've lost your job, whether you have unexpected expenses that came up, whether someone has passed away that was a primary breadwinner or contributed to the household, whether it was a rental property and your tenants have moved out, so you're no longer getting that income. When you start to miss payments, you have to be aware that you could possibly be facing foreclosure if you don't rectify that situation or deal with what is causing you to fall behind. So you're going to want to make sure that you give me a call if it starts to be difficult for you to make timely payments. Okay. The second thing that you should be aware of that may cause you to be looking at foreclosure in the near future is frequent late payments or a reliance on grace periods. Now, typically, California allows, and different states are different, about a 10-day grace period, right? But if you're always using that grace period up or even paying late after the grace period, you're going to incur late fees and all of that. So if you're frequently late, now one time late, maybe you were out of town, you don't have your bills coming out automatically. So you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to pay that bill. That's one thing. But when you're frequently late, when you're frequently using up that grace period and or paying after that, you may need to give me a call, right? Because you may be facing foreclosure if that continues on. Why? Because those late payments add up. Okay, those late payments add up, and if they start the foreclosure process, those are other fees you're going to have to contend with. The third thing that you may sign that you may be facing foreclosure is receiving default or demand letters in the mail, right? And so when you start to miss payments, your phone is going to start ringing a little bit more frequently because the creditor is trying to call, the mortgage servicer is trying to call, they're trying to collect payments on the loan. So if you're receiving default letters and demand letters, that means you are not current. That means you have fallen behind and they want their money. You're going to want to give me a call. So I can help you rectify that situation, because if you ignore the letters, it's not going to make the problem go away. The fourth sign that you may be facing foreclosure is having difficulty paying other bills. Okay, like your credit cards and personal loans and car loans. If you're finding it difficult making other payments on time with your bills, sometimes that spills off into your mortgage, or one month you're paying your mortgage, the next month you're making your car payment on time. Then when you make your car payment on time, you're late on your mortgage. So if you're having to toggle back and forth and it starts snowballing, that you're finding it difficult to not only make your mortgage payment, but make other timely bill payments, you're going to want to give me a call. Okay. You do not have to go into foreclosure. You do not have to lose your home. But again, ignoring these signs is not going to make the problem go away. Listen, the fifth sign that you may be facing foreclosure is having your property taxes delinquent. Now, many loans, your property taxes are included in your mortgage payment. You took out a loan, you have an escrow account, and therefore a portion of your mortgage payment every month is set aside in an escrow account. So the lender can make your property taxes and or property insurance for you when it becomes due. But in the case that maybe you got a loan and if you did not have an escrow account, you weren't required to have one, neither did you elect to have one. Guess what? When those property taxes become due in California twice a year, in other states it may be a little different. I recognize that. You are going to want to pick up the phone and call me. Okay. We don't need you falling into foreclosure because you are behind on your property taxes. It's a risk for the lender, right? They're going to get notified when you're behind on your property taxes, and that's not going to be good. So you're going to want to make sure if you're finding it difficult, you don't have to face these problems alone. You got the hardest working woman in mortgage and real estate nationwide. I can come in, I can help you. I've been doing this for years. The sixth sign that you may be facing foreclosure is having your homeowner's insurance either canceled, not renewed, or significantly increased. Did you hear what I said? Having your homeowner's insurance either canceled, not renewed, or significantly increased. Now, I'm located in California. I help clients all over and I advise them. But this is the deal in California. We've had several fires. Several people have had their homeowners policy canceled or not renewed. And it's a big, big problem here in California. So you are going to want to pick up the phone and call me. If you've had your insurance canceled, if it hasn't been renewed, or it's been significantly increased, it can cause you to fall behind in your mortgage, right? Because you don't want the lender to force place insurance on you. If your insurance has increased significantly, it may throw your budget completely out of whack. There are options available. I need you to pick up the phone and call me, okay? I'll be sharing really soon what happened to me personally with my own insurance policy. It's jaw dropping, but I am going to share it because I'm going to let you know because I'm in the industry. I don't get a free pass, so to speak. Okay. I'm still subject to having insurance either increased or canceled and all of that. So I'm going to share my own personal story really soon. The seventh sign that you may be facing foreclosure if you don't tackle it is having an adjustable rate mortgage. Okay. These type of mortgages are for people that are really savvy in how they work. I know as a mortgage broker and a real estate broker, I really thoroughly go over how adjustable rate mortgages work. But you get a mortgage and you get an adjustable rate mortgage because you take advantage of that low interest rate, especially if interest rates are a little higher. You take advantage of the low interest rate, but it adjusts. It's very important that before it adjusts to the highest interest rate, if interest rates have gone down, you're going to want to refinance or something. But if you have an adjustable rate mortgage and you can't refinance because the rates are either the same or higher, but your payment keeps increasing, you're going to want to call me. I have several clients. I have walked through this. I have helped them. They had adjustable rate mortgages at like 6.75, 7.5, 9.5%. And I was able to get it down to 4%, 3.75% fixed for the remaining term of the loan. So again, these are signs. I'm just giving you about 10 signs of that you may be facing foreclosure if you're experiencing this, okay? So if your mortgage is adjustable rate mortgage, and as it increases, you're finding it difficult to make those payments on time, you're going to want to get a hold of me. The eighth sign, now this is a doozy. The eighth sign that you may be facing foreclosure is job loss or reduced income, getting laid off or having a medical emergency, right? So whether it's due to, again, a death, divorce, illness, injury, layoff, or natural disaster, if you've had a loss of household income, that means it's a hardship. It's just a hardship and it may affect your ability to repay. You could have had a savings, but as you're chipping away on that savings and you're not replenishing that money back into your account, it can make it difficult. Sometimes you have a medical emergency and something comes up and you can't work. Remember, life happens. Life deals us lemons sometimes, but it is my job and it is my pleasure. And I absolutely love what I do to help you make lemonade. Okay. So you don't have to lose what you worked hard for. There are options available. The ninth sign that you may be facing foreclosure, okay? The ninth sign that you may be facing foreclosure is if you get calls from your lender and you just ignore them. Like you just ignore them. Listen, I know what it means because I've had the pleasure of being administrator of different estates. And sometimes when someone passes away and the court appoints me as an administrator, I start, once I get a hold of the lender and they start to, you know, uh, code the account that I'm the authorized party that they can talk to. They're reaching out to me because that loan is past due and all of that. So I know what it is to get on the list and have the robocalls because they're trying to collect a payment. But guess what? Ignoring the calls, ignoring the mail doesn't make the problem go away. You may feel overwhelmed, but you cannot stop engaging with your lender. Okay. You don't want to stop engaging with them. They're going to think you've passed away. And if you really haven't passed away and you really want to keep the home, they're like, look, we've sent letter after letter. We've called and called. You're not calling us back. You're not responding to the letters. So that's a sign that you may be facing foreclosure. Because listen, you don't know. The lender could be offering you something or saying, hey, tell us more. Let's see how we can help you. But if you refuse to open the mail, refuse to take the phone calls, you may be facing foreclosure because you can't just ignore the notices, okay? The last sign that you may be facing foreclosure is a notice of default. A notice of default or a list pendant is filed against the property, okay? That means the lender has officially begun the foreclosure process. So that time is critical. Okay. Once filed, you still have options available, but you need to get right on it. But you don't want to wait to that. I've given you 9 signs already. You don't want to wait for the 10th sign where they're recorded a notice of default or a list pendant on the property and they've ramped up. They got their attorneys and everything on deck because now they're like, you haven't paid us our money. You haven't even communicated with us. So we want to take our property back. You don't want to wait to that time. So remember, these are the 10 signs. If you are experiencing any of them, okay, whether you've missed mortgage payments, whether you've been frequently late or relying on grace periods every single month to pay the bill, if you're receiving default letters from your lender, if you're finding it difficulty to pay other creditors like your utilities or your credit cards or car loans, if you're behind on your property taxes, if your insurance has increased or been canceled or non-renewed, whether you had an adjustable rate mortgage that keeps increasing, you're finding it difficult to make those payments, if you've had a loss of income of any kind or a medical emergency or something comes up, or you're just getting those letters in the mail, right? You're constantly getting those calls in the mail. You are going to want to call me. Now, my number is 714-914-7254. You can certainly visit modifymenow.com, but the best way to get a hold of me to make sure you get the help that you need, you can call or text 714-914-7254. Now, remember to follow me on all social media platforms at Go Lacy Robertson. That's Lacy without an E and Robertson with a T. I'm Lacy Robertson, the hardest working woman in mortgage and real estate nationwide. I look forward to working with you and for you. And until then, have a blessed day.